you gonna do? You gonna chop your feet off when you get a manual?
I got to.
All right.
Let me back up first.
Nah, you can. I mean, it's not a big deal. All right. Put your foot back on the clutch. First gear. You gotta take your foot off the brake. You ain't gonna go nowhere. Alright, how's it doing, YouTube? As you can tell by the title, this is basically how to drive a manual. We got the 2017 1LE. Just for anyone who's referencing, I feel like, and I've heard this from multiple people before, I feel like the particular transmission that's in this car makes it easy to learn manuals because it's very forgiving and it's really hard to tear it up. But I got the victim, Khalif. I'm gonna teach him how to drive a manual. I'm not faking with you guys and using someone else who already knows how to drive a manual. I'm literally gonna teach him how to drive a manual, see how long it takes. I'll give you my way of explaining it to people and how I was taught and how it's worked for me. But like I said, make sure you get a car that you're comfortable with and something that the person who's teaching you is comfortable with, because that's important too. But like I said, I just feel like my particular car is easy to teach on, because I could have used my dad's truck or something like that, but I feel like it's really easy to teach on this car, and you can stall it a million times, it's not going to care. So we'll go ahead and hop in, cuz.
Here we go.
I got it. So there's a few things, while you're looking at my feet, there's a few things that are important to note before you actually drive a manual transmission car. There's this pedal, the dead pedal. Of course, everyone's Achilles heel, which is a clutch. My foot is on the brake and the gas is over here. One thing is, especially in automatic cars, you don't really use it quite as much because you have space right here to put your foot. But this is the dead pedal. My foot doesn't now. Normally, it does rest right here a lot, but it's neither here nor there. Just depending on if I know I'm going back to the clutch. Sometimes I use a clutch and put my foot right here or here, just somewhere. But the dead pedal is a good place to put your foot. It's just a place to rest your foot, obviously. I don't know how many more different ways I can say this. The clutch, which is, like I said, everyone's Achilles heel. I'll show in the video, but you definitely want to take some time to get familiar with the clutch before you actually get going or put the vehicle into gear. You can have it running like I'll do now, but it's not in gear, so you can play with the clutch, get the feeling of how stiff it is and how loose it gets and stuff like that. You're braking your gas, as well as your shifter. You want to make sure you familiarize yourself with the pattern it has on it, put in gear, so you can see, you know, some vehicles have the reverse over here, some vehicles have it down here. If it's a 5-speed versus a 6-speed, it might be right here where 6 is for mine. So you want to keep that in mind too. But I wanted to go over those things and we'll get into the video, but just keep that in mind. The biggest thing is know the clutch. Just know the clutch and be confident where you put your feet. It is different because you have to basically use a foot most people have never used before to drive. If you do drive, I guess the proper way, you only use your right foot. So you just modulate the gas and the brake. So make sure you guys familiar yourself with that and just know the layout of whatever vehicle you're in. Even though it might not be just like this in the Camaro, I mean, the pedals could be closer, further away. I know like in bigger trucks, the pedals are a little bit further away. So just familiarize yourself with everything that you have down here, because this, in relation to what your hand does here and what your eyes see here, are very important. Alright, so I got Khalif in the driver's seat, and he's basically gonna start from the very beginning. You'll probably just see my hands in the video because you can't see my face. But first thing, most manuals, older ones, you don't have to do this, but on one like this you have to. So go ahead, push the clutch in, put your foot on the brake. Now press the start button. Make sure it's still in neutral. Alright, now you can take your foot off the clutch. So that's gonna be how you start the manual. Most cars, like I said, require you to do it that way. Older cars, you can just start them without even pushing the clutch in. But that's just a safety feature for new cars. So,
Brake too, or just...
well, yeah, on this car, you got to press the brake to get it to start. Otherwise, it'll go in accessory mode. Alright, so easiest thing I tell people is while the car is still in neutral to practice getting a feel for the clutch, because the clutch is the newest pedal to everyone. So put your foot back on the brake. Don't put your foot on the clutch. You take the parking brake off. I'll take your foot off the brake. So now the car is basically ready to go. It's in neutral, but the parking brake's off. So if you were to put in first gear and go, it would go. But anyway, like I said, I usually tell people get used to the clutch itself. So go ahead, put your foot on the clutch. Don't worry about the brake. Now that's all the way down. To start it, it's got to be all the way down. Same thing. Yeah. Now come off the clutch. You got to come off of it slow, and then maybe like halfway. That's good. All right, put it back in. All right, so like halfway through, you'll start to feel, even though it's not in gear, a little bit, you'll start to feel the clutch kind of grab. And kind of, I guess the easiest way to explain it is the pedal kind of vibrates. And just go from the floor all the way to the top so you can figure out how far the range is. And this car is kind of short. And like trucks, it's a little bit longer of a throw, I guess you could say, for the clutch. All right. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he can do this. Usually it takes a little bit longer to get people to get used to the clutch pedal, but all right, so put your foot all the way down on the clutch. Put that in first. Up and up. Oh, yep. All right, so now the car's gonna be ready to go. So you need to come off the clutch slow, and you can go as slow as you want, but then don't get on. Basically, come off of it slow so it doesn't stall. So go ahead. There you go. Now you're kind of, and that was good. You found the engagement point pretty quick. So you can, that's the easiest way to kind of, I mean, we went, what, 10 feet or something like that? So go ahead, put it back in first. Now when it does that, that's when you can kind of start coming off of it a little bit quicker. Not that quick. Put your foot back, yep. And like I said, with this car, it doesn't care. Not gonna tear anything up. So parking brake's still off. Alright, so put it back in gear. Alright, now go ahead. There you go. Now come off, keep coming off. There you go. There you go, that's it. Okay. Alright, now to stop, push the clutch back in. Brake, put it back in neutral. All right. Now, of course, magically, he placed himself on somewhat of a hill, which is honestly the hardest part of a manual transmission vehicle, is getting it to go from basically on a hill. So you have to play with the clutch a little bit more. You have to be a little bit more patient, and you got to kind of let it bite a little bit more just so you can get it going. And you got to give it some gas at the same time. This isn't that big of a hill. If I were doing it, I could make it go without giving it any gas. Or probably just tapping it a little bit.
You want to do it just back up then, or you going to try it?
You should probably back up. Let off the clutch. You know. Well, yeah. Yeah, it's not that big of a hill. Alright, put your foot back on the brake.
On the brake?
Yeah. Alright. So it's not that big of a hill. I'm gonna just see what he can do because it's fairly level. So put your foot back on the clutch. Put it in first. Same thing you're doing slowly. There you go. Now this is what you're gonna have to do. Alright, leave it. So this is a trick. You have to trust your clutch foot that basically the clutch is gonna hold the car. Even though it's slipping, it's gonna hold the car. And then you need to move your brake foot from the brake to the gas while the clutch is holding the car and giving it, and like I said, this isn't a big hill, so you just need a little bit of gas and it'll go.
Alright, here we go.
And then honestly, like I said, this hill isn't that big. You could really let off of the brake and get the clutch before it actually starts moving. Yeah. So get your clutch pretty close to the engagement point. That's what I usually do. Like when I'm on a hill and I know the light's about to change, I get my foot pretty close to the engagement point, but it's not engaged yet. So as soon as that light turns green, I'm basically making my movement. There you go. Oh, you almost had it. If you had kept with what you had the first time, you would have had it.
Yeah. And then just gas it as I got you. Okay. Parking brakes off. Put in first gear.
You gotta go a little bit slower. You're going too quick.
Okay.
Because on the hill, you're gonna have to go slower. Even though this isn't that big of a hill, you have to go a little bit slower. There you go. There you go. There you go. Not let off of it. There you go. And then that time he rolled the brake a little bit, which is okay, because you can, I mean, it's gonna push through the brake anyway.
So can I kind of gas it?
Yeah, you can go ahead and gas it. Alright, so I'm gonna try to give you guys a good view of what his feet are doing down there. So go ahead and... Now we're back on even ground, so this should be easy. Or you can just stall it. Okay.
Neutral. Foot all the way down the clutch.
Now, hold on.
Parking brakes off.
Alright, parking brakes off.
Right.
Now you don't have to put your foot on the brake this time. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
And then... Now come off of it. There you go. So you just gotta be slow with the clutch. That's the key to this whole thing, is being patient with the clutch. Alright, now stop again.
So clutch in.
Yeah. Clutch in. Brake. Neutral. Alright. Now practice going again.
Alright.
Just take your foot off the... You got your foot on the brake, player. You ain't gonna go nowhere like that. When you're on even ground, you can just take your foot all the way off the brake. There you go. Like I said, this transmission is pretty forgiving. My car has an exhaust, so you can kind of hear what it's doing. A quieter car to be tough.
Trying to get on this gravel.
Alright, stop. There you go, clutch in. You got it. There. Oh, God, Jesus.
My big feet, bro. Size 13.
Alright. Parking brakes off, so take your foot off the brake.
Yep.
Alright. Now, go ahead and... There it is. There you go. Alright, now the next task, give it a little gas. Alright, that's good. Clutch in, don't slow down. Go down a second, shift down. Come off the clutch slow. There you go. Give it a little bit more gas. Alright, clutch in, go up to third. There you go. And then once you go up higher in the gears, it becomes a little bit easier to come off the clutch. Before, it's going to be tough. Now, clutch in, because now you either got to downshift or come off of it. There you go. There you go. Clutch a little bit more before you do that. You need to get the clutch to where it's ready to go, because you're still too far down.
Okay.
You need to, before you come off the brake, get the clutch where it's ready to go. Right there. Now move your foot from the brake to the gas. Now come off the clutch slow. There. Once you start coming off the clutch, keep coming. Don't stop.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Now move your foot to the brake to the gas. There you go. You gotta give it some gas when you do that.
Okay, you can't just lay it on there. Heels are no joke, bro. on the last one. That a boy. Got you.